For me, it's the teachers. I can remember every single one of my teachers from the 4s all the way to 13s, 14s. Some aspect of who they were. From Paul Schwartz, big hairy mustache, all the way to Toby, just working us so hard, but caring for us all the way through and really believing in us, and everybody in between. I mean, I can remember every single teacher.
As a kid, I always felt like that mind was drawn to a place like Bank Street. So it was more in the who wanted to be at Bank Street, like-minded people found it. As an adult, you realize that so many structures are being put in place really tactfully, here. And so a really great example, I'm reading reports right now, and I just finished reading Roberta's reports, and Roberta has an entire social justice curriculum that she does with in her wood shop, where she has kids create a superhero that solve a world problem, and so, I mean, you should see some of the plastic man who, recycles plastic and all of these things, and they have to create this narrative that's not by accident, that is by design. And so, you don't, as a child, you're not realizing, Bank Street's teaching me social justice in wood shop. You are just coming up with something that matters to you. You're giving a platform and a voice, and who knows, maybe you pick up on that later in life because of that project that you did. So now I understand that there's more to the design, but as a kid I thought it was just families are drawn, who have the same mindset.
I think part of it for me was the way the curriculum is connected to the real world. So learning didn't happen in isolation. It was like everything that we learned, we understood somehow that it connects to the real world, and so our actions in the world and as citizens of the world are meaningful. And I'm sure that there was a lot of design behind it that I absolutely was not aware of as a child, but learning never felt like this futile thing that I just do because I'm told to do it in school. It always had meaning.
And Bank Street just created a space for all of us to be together, and I think what they instilled in all of us is just that, and why I returned back to Bank Street is that it's not school. Bank Street's not school. Bank Street is a space carved out to allow all of us, children and adults, to just play with learning and make sense of this world however we want to make sense of it. And that is what drew me back to Bank Street, and what I think I walked away with Bank Street, because then I went to high school and it was very different. It was about learning skills to pass a test, to get into college. And at Bank Street, you were given a pause. And not even to me a pause. In the world, yes, a pause, but it was a space that just said, hey, we are all invested in just the process of human beings as learners, making sense of your world, doing it through hands-on, active ways with other people. And there wasn't a sense of hierarchy like our teachers knew more than us. It was truly a space created where I, as a 4-year-old, brought meaning to a conversation. And Steve, my teacher, brought a pomegranate so we could try it, and then we could all experience it for the first time.
I think one of our best selling points, and Eve, you mentioned experiential learning. I was on a tour recently, but I do a lot of the open house events for new interested families. And our tours are given by students who volunteer. They're not trained per se, they just want to be there. And then our parents come back and give tours, and then some alum come back and give tours. So I was on a tour with an alum, and the parent who was in the room asked if you could talk about, some aspect of curriculum, like so whatever it was. Instead of talking about what she studied, she talked about the role that she played in this role play that they had. Oh, we had to pass this bill in the Senate, and my job was to push this gun. This child graduated like 5 years ago, and she's like, I had to pass it, but the Congress was not having it. We had to actually have some backdoor deals because we had to get this through, and we had to, push this. We promised this and there. We added on. Like it was unbelievable that she lived this curriculum, right? And in a way that I could tell you what Congress's role is. I can tell you the steps to do a bill, or I can show you this is how we did it. And you tell me that's not more lasting.
One of the gifts I think that makes progressive education so you have to be really intelligent to do is that we do have roadmaps that we create, but we're also so gifted because of the way we've been trained to look at a situation and be able to shift course because it doesn't fit the group's need or the individual's needs. And I think to do that and to be flexible like that, you have to have so many tools in your toolbox to be able to navigate I had 21 kids in my class this year, 21 different personalities, different families, and at any moment, I have to be okay. I mean, I feel like the Panama Canal, right? So I have to shift and open up these openings so that the water flows the way it needs to flow, so that it goes down the channel correctly for each individual in my room. I think that is what is so special about our place. I never felt as a kid or as a teacher that I was ever constrained to one space. I felt that this was a space where the adults around me and the kids around me were always very responsive, not always easy, but worked on being responsive to all of us the way we needed to. And we walked away knowing more about ourselves, the good and the bad, but we learned more about who we were, what we wanted to be, but also never feeling like you were stuck in that space, right? We always felt that I was very shy as a kid, but I didn't have to be a shy kid. I could try out spaces where I could be really vocal. I could try out spaces where I could be back to being shy. And so I think for all of the people I've known at Bank Street, like, we got to understand who we were, but also understand our possibilities, and never a door was closed for us, right? If I wanted to be an artist, even though I couldn't draw, Bank Street was like, you could try and draw, keep drawing. And they encouraged us to do things that we may have felt that we weren't good at. It's amazing.
It wasn't even a decision.
Yeah.
Like, it's just obvious. But
I think
this
that's
is,
the same.
yeah, like, this is where my kids belong. This place feels like home, and it shaped my worldview in such a positive way. And I actually started working at Bank Street before my daughter started going to the family center. In that first year that I was working, and sort of every day, I have moments of witnessing curriculum or hearing kids speak and feeling like, yes, I want my child to have that, and to be thinking about social justice, and to be having these experiences, and to be seen this way. There's sort of no other option.
As I watch, and every year, you know, your kid goes to another grade, and I watch these teachers, I watch the kids, I watch the families. I am glad I made this decision for him. The other two, I didn't apply anywhere else either, and there was no other choice, but I realized why, over time, why I wanted them here, because I've watched how these teachers teach. Doesn't matter what class they're in, I know they're going to get an experience that is going to be transformative for them, and they're going to go off in the world. I didn't even care if Julian got into high school. I just was like, he got Bank Street, that's all that mattered. The rest, he's going to figure it out, because Bank Street is going to give him the tools for forever.
Revel.
Comfortable.
Community.
Inspiring.
Basketball.
Amazing.
Family.
Powerful.
Transformative. Unforgettable. Can I say 2 in a row?
I mean, you did. We got the tape.
I changed the rules.